So the other way to solve scale drawing problems is you use proportional tables. Pretend it's a word problem involving proportions. In fact, sometimes scale drawing problems are not diagrams, they're actually word problems. And so you use the same system you would if you're trying to solve a problem with proportions. I create a little table to try to figure out how to solve the problem. So for example, what I do is the first row, I name the pictures. If they already have a name, like this one has A and B, I put that. If they don't, I'll call them bigger and smaller, which always makes me laugh because it will be BS. And yeah, it's BS that I have to do that problem. So whatever makes me laugh, it makes me like it better, right? But what I usually do is label the first row with the names of the drawings. And then I find a pairing that I have in a diagram, like the 4 and the 2 that we've been using in this example. And then I put them in the next row, making sure that the right number is underneath the right picture. So the 2 belongs to the B and the 4 belongs to the A. And they're paired together, just like they would in a proportion problem within one sentence. If you read, that is the same sentence, they belong together in the same row. Then I use that to figure out the constant proportionality by dividing one row by the other, right? So in this example, I would do 2 divided by 4 and get half. Notice that is one of the scale factors that we've used, right? Half. Now that I know that K is half, I know that to go this way, I have to divide, and that to go that way, I have to multiply by that K, right? So 7 times half will give me 3.5, just like we did in the last problem. That's to find this side here and match to the 7, right? And then if I was trying to find out the 5, right, I make sure it's under the picture B because it belongs in that picture. And then I put the Y, that's a matching side on picture A. And then I know that to go that way, you have to divide, right, by the same scale factor. So dividing by half is multiplying times 2. So it's times 2, which you get 10. Basically, there's 2 ways of doing it. The first way is to use the scale factor like I did in the previous problem. And the second way is by setting up a table where in each row, you use match parts of the diagrams, making sure that in a column, it's underneath the label of the right picture. Then you would do like you normally would in any kind of proportion table problem. You find a K and use the K to determine your mystery value. Remembering that divide to go left and multiplying to go right if you calculated K by doing right divided by left. So if you're really good at proportion tables, this is another way to solve for mystery values that doesn't really have to do with determining the scale factor per se, but you kind of are, because as you saw in this example, we use half and 2 because they're the same thing. It is a proportional relationship. And I like this method too, because like I said, sometimes you will get word problems, and then I just think of them like I would for a proportion problem. They are basically proportion problems. I put them in the table and I solve them that way. So maybe this makes more sense to you if you are already good at proportions. And if it does, use this method instead of the one from the previous video, whatever helps you the most. On the next video, we're going to do some practice and wrap up this workshop on scale drawings.